All right, let's start all over.
All right.
Go ahead.
I love you.
Love you too.
So, hey guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Mickey and this is
Edwin.
Welcome to our channel. Welcome to our channel.
More like your channel.
Well, this is my little channel dance, our YouTube channel dance. Hey, well, the YouTube channel dance, the YouTube channel dance. What? The YouTube. Okay. What this is about is the things they didn't tell us before we got married, and I hope you enjoy, because there's so many things I feel like we weren't warned about before marriage that we are finding out right now, which could have totally been avoided, or we could have been made aware, so we could have prepped ourselves for it prior to getting married.
Well, I would think it's almost like a child. Nobody's ever really prepared, or even the death of a family member. Nobody's really ever prepared. It's just something that you have to kind of grow into. Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah, which is true. But at the same time, I feel like there's some things that you need to be warned about prior to getting married. Marriage is not all bad. You dictate the rhythm, the tone, and the pace of your marriage. That's one thing I know for sure right now so far. And it's taken me 5 years to figure that out. So you want to talk about how we met and how we got to this point?
Okay, actually, real quick, this 4th of July, which is in about a month from now.
Yeah.
It'll be 10 years since I met my wife. I met her on the beach, 4th of July. She was looking good. I was looking good.
Yeah, you were looking good.
My mind followed the booty, and ta-da, we met.
Terrible!
But even though we've been together 10 years, we've been married a little over 5.
Yes.
And 3 years ago, we moved to Texas. We're in Houston now, and here we are. I mean, we don't have any kids or anything. We're hoping to maybe have kids in the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Have children and start our own family unit and just be fruitful and blessed from there. So that's kind of how we met on the beach, 4th of July, 10 years ago.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, we decided not to have a wedding. We decided to get married. Our pastor, who was our counselor at the time, decided to marry us on a Thursday.
I don't remember, but it was just one of those things that...
It was just one of those things that was just like, off the way.
Well,
like, let's do this.
Yeah, we know that we needed to do it just because, if you're with somebody longer than 2 years and you're not married yet, you probably need to get married, because really, guys are so simplistic, it doesn't take a lot to figure them out or get to know them. And actually, she was trying to finish up with college at the time, and actually, I had started college, so, it just wasn't convenient at the time. But then again, I guess it never really is convenient.
No.
And we just eventually just realized God kind of showed us some things about us needing to get married, and we just complied with what he was telling us, and we're happily married now.
Yeah. So when we got married, I was living in his cousin's apartment. I was roommates with his cousin at the time, and because he had started college and so many financial issues, he had moved in with his dad. So after we got married, we moved in together.
Yep. With my dad.
With his dad. Wonderful. it was pretty intense at that time. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about when it came to things they didn't tell us
Actually,
before
real
we
quick,
got married. Yeah.
Shout out to my dad. Thank you very much,
You're
Randy.
awesome, Randy.
Thank you, Randy, for taking on that challenge.
He called us knuckleheads.
Because he's probably directing it more towards me. But anyways, thanks, Dad, for that. I know it was challenging, but you really helped us. And actually, speaking of that, we talked about this before. I know a lot of people, that's not their ideal situation, is to live with your parents. But I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise, and here's why. My wife is very strong-minded, very headstrong. I am as well.
God, you gonna diss me on this channel?
I said you're headstrong. Here's my point. When you have two people that are used to being independent and being leaders, you're just gonna
and doing their own thing.
A lot of this, and that's what we experienced. We experienced a lot of that. So
during our first year,
living with my dad was actually a good thing because I think it kind of kept us from really hurting each other. Because if we were by ourselves, I mean, I got my bruises. I can't show y'all right now, but if
I got my bruises.
I just think it would have been a lot worse if we didn't have my dad as that. What'd you say, Buffett or referee?
Buffer or
not even
referee.
a referee, just that kind of that wall. So it was actually a good thing.
Yeah, it was, and I feel like one of the things that it was very apparent to me after getting married was that because we were both used to doing our own thing, we were setting our schedules. I mean, I was still young, but you had been living on your own since you were what, 16?
Mm-hmm.
So you were set in your ways, so to speak. So I was not used to that. And coming from a different culture, a different way of doing things, I felt like it was such a culture shock. Marriage in itself, imagine marriage like moving to a different country. And that's how I saw it. Marriage is like moving to a different country. The first 2 weeks is like a vacation. Yay, everything is fun. Woo! And then when you start to settle in and find out the realities of that, it feels like then it becomes a real culture shock. And for me, I felt like someone was literally invading my space. I had to share my space with somebody 24/7. The person was never going away. And that's one of our topics, space. One of the things that we were learning about was space, sharing space with someone in marriage.
Actually, speaking of that, no, she's a social butterfly. I'm an introvert. I'm very antisocial. So I can be pretty entertained and self-fulfilling if I'm just a recluse by myself, not having anybody around. My wife so much, not really like that. So I think in a way, we kind of balance each other out. And when we come together in that space, learning how to cohabitate with each other for the very first time, it was kind of a culture shock because it's now somebody else's space, even though you're there. It's your space as well. So
Yeah.
That was just quite a
Shock. That's how I saw it. Because it was a lot
quite a
of
reality, I guess
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it was very different because I wanted to go out, I want to hang out all the time, and then he's like, no. I want to stay home and read comic books and watch TV. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'd be like, are you for real? That's not what we did when we dated. You, like, took me out all the time. Why are you all of a sudden not wanting to
I
go
got you
anywhere?
now. I got
Which
you.
was really annoying.
I got you. I don't need to
Because
do all
yes,
this stuff.
I see that was really made me mad because you were like, I got you. I don't need to do nothing. So I'm gonna sit my butt at home and you can do whatever you want. And you know what? He was very liberal. He didn't mind if I went out with my girlfriends or whomever, you know, just to have fun at night, just as long as I checked in with him from time to time. But what aggravated with me was that I wasn't having as much fun because he wasn't with me.
Yeah.
And so that really was just annoying because I didn't want to come home at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and find him sleeping. I wanted to, you know, like, oh, I just went out, it was the bomb, and, you know, this was what happened. And he's like, I've been asleep since 10, so I'm just gonna roll over right now and fall asleep. And then the flip side of that was that you would wake up super early.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
I'm an early bird and she's a night owl.
And he would sleep, he would wake up like, spring up at 7, like, ready to go. And I'd be like, what are you doing? I just got to bed at like 4 a.m. and you're killing my vibe. So another thing, speaking of killing vibes, I'm kidding. But another thing was also sharing stuff. sharing spaces. Sharing spaces as in closet space, countertop space, whatever the space, the space in the bathroom.
Well, I kind of had this idea in my mind that it was all going to work out, but it very rarely goes according to how you have it envisioned in your mind. And it just, our equal space ended up being overtaken by her stuff, so it became her space. And then I eventually had to find some space of my own somewhere else in different parts of the house. So
You had to go take the cat's room. The cat had a room where its
Yeah.
litter box was, and it used to keep all
in
the
the
papers
basement, I
and
had
stuff.
I had a rack, a clothes
And then
rack
he
in
put
the basement.
the rest of his clothes in the
Yeah, so but we lived in it was a tiny bedroom, so
It was really small.
we had everything that we didn't have everything that we wanted, but we had everything that we needed. So
Yes.
So yeah.
But I mean, that was one thing that we had to like think about. And one thing I realized about sharing space, especially in like a bedroom space like that, and sharing with your dad, also was that we would, if we fought, we had nowhere to go. It was so horrible. We would fight and we would want to like kind of get away from each other. I remember one time there was this one time where we had this like ridiculous fight. I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. If you get married, there's some of the fights that you think are like way like the biggest fights in the world. Down the line, you wouldn't even remember what you were fighting about. So just
Well,
Don't be
since you
sad.
bring up fighting,
But wait, let me finish my story though. You were so mad that you climbed out the window.
yeah.
He
Okay,
opened the-
because she wouldn't let me go anywhere.
because I wanted him to stay so
Yeah,
we could
yeah.
discuss it.
Look,
and
ladies,
talk
hold on, let me touch on
about
that for a
it.
second, because ladies getting mad, getting in a fight, and forcing the guy to stay there till you work it out is not always a good thing.
It was-
So not everybody does everything the same. So if a guy needs to cool off and he needs to get away,
let him
get
go.
away.
Let him go. He's gonna climb out the window.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just gonna again space. I needed my space. I needed my time. Otherwise, it was gonna get ugly.
I don't know. I was so shocked that this dude just like pried open the
Yeah.
window and he climbed out.
I took out the screen and then I
And he
just
told
jumped
you
out
like
the
he
window.
unscrewed it and he climbed out the window and he took off. It was the most, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, is this guy serious? Are you like, instead of staying and discussing this and working it out, you would rather just unscrew the window and climb out?
I had to get away from your crazy behind.
No, I thought you were crazy for that. You climb out the window, bruh.
When we fight, just like a lot of other people, I think we fight more over the smallest, dumbest stuff than over the biggest stuff. We don't really have too many big arguments, but what happens is that you magnify the small things and you make them much bigger than what they really are. And I think that was a lot of our problems back then. It even still is a little bit today, but not as much as it was back then. But I think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people deal with fighting over just dumb small
stuff. But you don't realize at the time that it's dumb stuff, but you have to realize the bigger picture. So what the bigger picture for us was, we were acclimatizing to sharing space. We were acclimatizing to sharing things. We're acclimatizing to having someone in our face 24/7. You went to bed with this person in your face. You woke up with this person in your face. You ate with this person in your face. This person was perpetually there. And it was something that we had to get used to, that you're going to be here permanently all the time. And I made that choice to make sure that you were here all the time. So I need to get used to that, and that manifested itself as combat. I think.
And just think about what I said at the beginning. When you have two strong-minded people, it's gonna be difficult in many areas. But in a way, it wasn't a bad thing, because I think you told me that if I was just submissive to the point to where I just did anything and everything you told me, it would not only get boring, but I think a woman wants a guy to kind of stand up
Yeah.
a little bit, because
Yeah.
if she's
and
walking
put
all
his
over
foot-
him,
Yeah, and put his foot down.
yeah,
sometimes.
that's just the formula that's backwards. So guys definitely need to kind of step it up. If
If you feel like
you're weak emotionally and you're letting your woman just walk all over you, man, you need to get some thick skin, and you just
'Cause
need
she's-
to, because she'll
gonna throw stuff at you.
man,
she gonna test your manhood. And that's what we keep doing though, ladies. We test them. And I don't is it controversial for me to say this? This is just an opinion. But I don't see anything wrong with testing your man's manhood, but not to the point where you drive him away.
Yeah.
If he stands up to the occasion, let him take over that space, and let him drive that space, and trust him enough to drive that space. And you will come to a resolution. If either he'll find out he's wrong and turn to your opinion, or he's gonna be right, and it might be even better than what you suggested in the first place. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Mickey, and this is
Edwin.
And next week we're going to be talking about sharing vehicles and sharing chores. Do you think men should be doing a certain type of chore, or women should be doing a certain type of chore? Let's talk about that on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.
And women should cook. I'm just being stupid.